Alright, so I'll start with a little story about myself. I was 5 years old when first time my mother got upset about the fact that I'm a bridesmaid and not the bride. And this was at a junior school annual function. So it's quite obvious that she was furious by the time I turned 25 and still was a bridesmaid and not the bride. This was real life. I say 25 because 25 is the last age I remember being. Because after that, I have just been almost 30. And I am not 30 even today. There's still a month and 26 days left for me to turn 30. Yeah, but that's not the point. What I want to tell you is that my 30th year has been more relaxed one in comparison to my 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. And today, both my mother and I are looking forward to that big 3 to get added to my age and to reach that milestone number. And no, getting married is not on the cards yet. And no, I am not against marriage. Hi, my name is Malhotra. I am an educator, an entrepreneur, and thanks to the pandemic, also a content creator. What I've shared with you is not a part of my sob story, but a part of a bigger realization that I had. Our beliefs shape our personality, our beliefs shape how we turn out to be, and our beliefs determine what we are going to achieve and what decisions we are going to make. And that is what I'm going to share with you today. You see, our beliefs, they determine our thoughts determine our actions, and our actions ultimately lead to the outcomes that we have in our life. Right, I'm also a psychology enthusiast. I love psychology, and that's why I'm going to talk about beliefs. In psychology, there is a phenomena called confirmation bias, which states that we have a tendency to look for, to interpret, and to recall information in a way that fuels and supports our pre-existing beliefs, right? So, for an example, let's say any of you thinks that you're not a good communicator. So you will go out in the world and you'll go on collecting that information. You may suddenly find yourself stutter while placing an order, or your frenemy from school will recall that one incident from your childhood wherein you had failed, right? All of those things will just fuel your belief that you're not a good communicator. But you will make sure to close your ears when somebody compliments you on your skills, right? That's what confirmation bias is. And if any of you thinks that, no, I don't have a confirmation bias, I agree to you, Rhythm, but I don't have it. I know myself so well, so I don't have any confirmation bias. That right there is the reason why we have confirmation bias in the first place. We like to protect our ego. We do not like being wrong. We do not like anyone tell us that, oh, this is not true. Even our own mind. Therefore, we'll only go out in the world and look for information that just support our pre-existing beliefs. That's one reason. The second reason why we have confirmation bias is we all like to be consistent. We like the way we are doing things and we want to continue doing that. A lot of us, when we come to school, college, or at work, we like to use the same route. We do not like to go to the different route because we want to stick to what we know and we do not want to change how we are going. That's the second reason for our confirmation bias. Now, just put this information and put it back in my story. The story that I shared about my beliefs about my age and my mother's beliefs about marriage. Now, I don't want to paint a bad picture of my parents. I come from a very, very loving, very, very supportive, and also a liberal family, wherein I've had all the chances to do whatever I want to do, to make all the decisions that I wanted to make. And I left my home at a very early age, at the age of 30. I went to a boarding school, then I went to Chandigarh to do my college, and then I went to Bombay to work, and of course I started up my own thing. So I've never had anyone tell me what to do and what not to do. So I come from a pretty liberal family and pretty supportive family. Yet, I would be lying if I say I didn't feel pressurized. I did, to get married, right? I got pressurized about my age. And it all started, or actually it all got a little more during the lockdown. Because of course, nowhere else to go. Everybody had a lot of time in their hands. Everybody was sitting in the same room. You couldn't go out. So we would only talk about aging, getting married, finding me a groom, all of that, you know. So I remember having a lot of tough conversations with my parents. I remember having a lot of emotional drama in the house until one day I was like, okay, I am going to sort it nicely, professionally. I'm going to look at my mother as my client. So I pulled out my politest tone, my empathetic ears, and of course I had a bag of logics ready, right? So I sat her down and I asked her. I explained it to her that the timeline is basically a societal concept. And I asked her, what would me getting married bring? Happiness, she said. I said, I'm happy. She said, biological clock. I said, I promised to take care of my health. Another argument. Everybody around you and your age is married. I pulled out my phone, Instagram, Reels, we talked about. Pulled out my phone, took out all the profiles of my seniors, showed them, look, they are doing so well, so happy, and no, not married yet. Now my mother started to understand what was going on, and her arguments started to weaken because she understood that all that love and concern was also coming out from her beliefs, right? And we came to a win-win situation. I told her, okay, you give me time and I'll share my lifeline with you, my life's timeline with you. I'll share that with you. So we came to a win-win, right? That conversation got ended. So a few days later, so just before the pandemic, I had gotten back to my house because that is when I was starting up my work, and I thought I would just focus my work. I would just focus on my work. So I went back home, right? So now in the middle of the pandemic, I didn't know what to do. We didn't have a physical place yet. We had to move online, and I never had a social profile before the pandemic. So I told my mother and I said, you know, this task, I'm too old for it. I'm not going to do it. I am too old for it. Now this smart woman, she looks up at me like, oh, aren't you the one who gave me a lesson about beliefs and age? Where is this age thing coming from? I stood there shook. I understood what she was getting at. I educate people for a living. I talk about beliefs all the time. Yet I wasn't applying the information that I impart on myself. I understood what she meant and went back to my room. Couldn't sleep well that night, but I knew what I was going to do the next day. So the very next day, again, I pulled out my phone, switched on the front camera, recorded a video or a reel, posted on Instagram, and that was the task that I was feeling that I'm too old to do. The task that actually got me standing here today. The task that if I hadn't done, I don't know how many opportunities that I have today would have opened up for me. So that rests my case, how beliefs are so important. Even when we know it, we may not apply it. And that's not the only belief that I have. That's not the only confirmation bias that I have. What I knew about beliefs and recording and Instagram, all of it, it was all college students ka kaam hai, not my work. It's something that I won't do. I'm too old for it, you know. I'm in my late 20s, almost 30. So I thought that. But this is the story. I just want to tell you that we are never too old. We got to work on our beliefs. And only if we work on our beliefs, only if we are aware of our beliefs, can we reach somewhere. Right? So that rests my case why confirmation bias, knowing about it, is important, because it can really decrease our objectivity. It can really hamper our growth. Imagine if I hadn't pulled out that phone and taken a video of myself, I really wouldn't have been here and all the other places that I've gone to. And third one, it can be one reason why we may not reach up to our potential. Our beliefs, they stop us. It may sound scary, but this is not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm only trying to pass away the information that I wish I had when I was sitting in my college auditorium like this. Because trust me, I would have done a lot of things differently, and not just in my career, but also in different aspects of my life. What I also would have liked to know is how to overcome that bias. So how can you overcome that bias? First, by becoming aware of it and acknowledging it. How do we become aware about our beliefs and our thoughts? By talking to ourselves. You can talk to yourself looking in the mirror, by opening in front camera, or by writing down. Journal, right? Talk to yourself, because you are the only ones who know yourselves the most and in the best way. No one can tell you, oh, you are good at this or you are good at that, if you do not believe it. Similarly, if you believe that you are good at something, no one can tell you you are not good at it. Because if you're going to believe it, you're going to make sure that you prove it right. Right? So becoming aware and acknowledging, then getting to the why of your beliefs. Let's say you have a negative belief about yourself. Understand where is it coming from. Ask yourself a lot of whys. Ask yourself a lot of hows and whats, so that you give an answer to your own self. You come to a conclusion why things are happening the way they are happening. Right? So get to the why. And third way to overcome confirmation bias is by having an open mindset. By that I mean you go out and talk to people who have challenging viewpoints, different viewpoints. You follow those people on Instagram or anywhere you would like. You watch, read content that does not go with your viewpoint. That way you will just have your mind explore to the ideas, to the new ideas and to different ideas, which will make you think and maybe make you make more objective decisions. Right? So I just want to tell you this. No matter what you believe, what you choose to believe, what you choose to say about yourself, you will always find an evidence for it. Right? So today, go back and challenge your beliefs. Think about what beliefs you have. Challenge the beliefs that tell you that you're not good enough. Challenge the beliefs that stop you from chasing your dreams, and challenge those beliefs that say that you can't. Because again, no matter what you choose to believe, you will always find an evidence for it. That's my time. Thank you.